It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Now, when it comes to our health, a lot of us suffer from gut discomfort, but many people tend to wait until the issue gets bad enough to look for a solution. Now, Dr. Darren Green, he joins us this morning to discuss these conditions in more detail, alongside with a familiar face, Piwo Mabunu, marketing manager at Ascendus Pharma, to shed some light on a possible solution that can relieve one's discomfort. Dr. Piwo, it's so great to have both of you here, and I'm really enjoying these gut conversations because it's so important.
Yeah, it really is. And you often hear of so many symptoms and people not even aware that it is their gut. Dr. Darren, maybe I can chat to you, just take it back to the beginning.
Sure.
We have so many issues that we can experience when it comes to our gut. I mean, I'm looking at a list here: indigestion, bloating, stomach discomfort.
Ticking
the
them
list
off.
goes on. Yeah, man. What is it exactly that's causing this? I mean, why is it actually even happening?
Yeah, so you've got a natural balance in the body when it comes to fuel sources and foodstuffs that you ingest, and how your body actually retaliates and extracts the maximum amount of goodness from what you're taking in. Unfortunately, there are many things that can disturb the harmony of how you extract that from whatever you're taking in. And different things, from what we eat in our diets, all the way through to medications we take, and then, of course, the big S, the stress in our lives, can all play a role in disturbing the balance of the systems at play here that work in the gastrointestinal tract, you know. And that's the system that's involved with breaking down the useful foodstuffs into chunks and sizes that are small enough to be absorbed and sent to the vital organs for the body to do its work optimally.
Okay.
Now, Doctor, I'm hearing this, and you're saying bloated, indigestion, heartburn, and a lot of us suffer from this. But how do we know it's our gut? How do we test for it? And what is the treatment plan going forward?
Number one is history taking. So when you visit your practitioner, you have to take what's called a history of a food diary. If it's related to the gut, very important. Look at the time of the day you're consuming food, the type of food you eat, so we can get a picture. When you see us for a 10-minute or a 15-minute or a half an hour consult even, we get a snapshot of your life. We need the background and the history. So when you come to us, come prepared with that information from your baby days of intolerances of certain breastfeeding milk, for example, and other milks, all the way through to starting foods that are solids with colorants, etc. And then we actually look at that entire history. So right at the start, good history taking, family history, because a lot of these gut disturbances and irritations are related to balance of enzymes and probiotics and prebiotics. And some of that stuff is genetically coded. It's in your genes, and you might not be making enough of one, or you might be making too much of another. So you need to find that balance. So history taking, and then we move on to the more serious stuff, examining the body for the things like the cramps, the bloatedness, making sure that it's not due to some other significant, serious medical problem that can be picked up with hands-on examination of the patient. And then the third component would be the special investigations, where we could do a stool culture, for example, and do imaging of the organs that are responsible for gut health, and creating, obviously, the enzymes that we need in digestion, looking for those causes with blood work and special tests.
Look, Dr. Darren, I'm listening to this and seeing clearly how important the system actually is. I mean, it's intricate on its own. There's so much that's going together just to make it work. And clearly you can see how easily that imbalance can occur. And
absolutely.
I'm sure this is obviously the reason, like you mentioned, for all these symptoms that we're struggling with. But Piwo, maybe I can put this one to you, because we have a potential solution in this. 1 tablet a day is going to support our digestive system, and that's with UNIENZYME, right? So how exactly is that working? What's the components in it, and how is this helping our potential problem that we have here?
Yeah, so essentially UNIENZYME was formulated with all of that in mind, and I know it's quite a lot to go through. Essentially, UNIENZYME is a digestive enzyme multi-supplement that is going to help you in terms of managing those gut symptoms and also those gut discomforts that we spoke about like just now. And essentially it consists of like 5 ingredients, 2 of them being digestive enzymes. So the first one is your papain. And papain is essentially your proteolytic enzyme that essentially helps in terms of breaking down your proteins into those smaller fragments that Dr. Green also mentioned earlier on. And that also works synergistically with the second enzyme that we have in there, which is your alpha amylase. And essentially, your alpha amylase focuses on your starches and your carbohydrates. And we know in South Africa we love our carbohydrates, right?
Yes.
So that, even from a lifestyle perspective, we won't necessarily be able to avoid.
Everybody's like, oh, okay, I need one now. Sold, you got me.
Exactly, right? But over and above that, we also have your somatocone inside. And essentially, your somatocone helps with that discomfort that one will feel because of that gastrointestinal gas that builds up as well. So talking to that whole bloating, that belching, and that tight feeling in terms of your tummy and not necessarily being pregnant. So, and then that's the third ingredient. And then over and above that, we also have your nicotinamide inside, which is essentially a vitamin B3. Yeah. And what that does is that it actually helps metabolize your carbohydrates, your proteins, and also your fats as you're also ingesting your food and managing your food as well. And then over and above that, it also has activated charcoal. And I think a lot of people are quite familiar with charcoal. And in this regard, when it comes to UNIENZYME, it actually helps to trap toxins inside the gut, therefore preventing them from being absorbed in the body. So all of those 5 ingredients essentially help in terms of managing all those various symptoms, literally in that one tablet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, I'm hearing this and I'm thinking, okay, 1 tablet, I can go crazy and eat what I want to eat because this 1 tablet is going to solve it for me. Dr. Darren Green, let's dispel that.
Okay. Well, firstly, I think it doesn't give you a license. A license to thrill your gut with all sorts of nasties. I think the mainstay is always looking at sufficiently balanced intake and diet. Of normal, proper food is the first choice, but there are instances where people have enzyme deficiencies, as I mentioned, as well, that can be demonstrated in terms of your genetic makeup. And then obviously looking at your response to the different foodstuffs and keeping that food diary and adjusting accordingly. So yeah, certainly don't see this as a license to thrill, but really focus on balance and getting what works for you as an individual. And combined with all that, obviously, please remember the amount of water intake with your diet is crucial.
Absolutely love this conversation. I feel like I've genuinely been educated, and I hope Mzansi has too. This is definitely going to assist us, especially with this beautiful system that we have going on. And of course, there is no reason to wait for your discomfort to get bad enough anymore, because there's actually no reason to wait at all. Now, if you'd like more information, you can visit unienzyme.co.za or your nearest pharmacy to find out more. Guys, you've been incredible. Thank you so much for educating us. And yeah, here's to a good gut health.
Thank you.
Great gut health.